In this video, I'm going to show you how I do a tip out with a face frame. And if you're new here, my name is Mirella Manelli. I'm a hair educator who loves helping hairstylists simplify their skills and business. And before we get this video started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications so you don't miss a video. Now let's get right into it. So what is a tip out? A tip out is basically applying lightener to those mids and ends so that way we can get an overall balanced, more cohesive, dark to light end result. So what you see here on my mannequin is this side we have some tip outs. You can see we have a nice dark into light, and overall the ends of the hair are lightened and brightened. So this is a great technique for anyone who is really wanting to make it look like they've been getting highlights done even though it might be their first time, or for an overall just brightened, balanced effect. Now on this side, what you'll see is basically just some rooted highlights. So we have a lot more dimension going on, which is still a really beautiful look, but two totally different techniques. And on this side, in between all of those highlights that we put in, we just added a couple foils of tip outs and it made such a huge impact. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today in this video. The lighter that I'm going to be using today is the L'Oreal Blonde Studio 9 at a 1 to 1.5 mixing ratio with 20 volume developer. Now, before I show you how to do the tip outs, we need to first put in our face frame highlights, or otherwise known as the money piece. Now, I am going to zip through this application, but if you need some inspiration for an application method for a face frame, you're going to want to check out my video tutorial called The Perfect Money Piece, which I'll put the link down below in the description. That way we can get to the really cool part of this video, which is the actual tip out. But to sum up the application that I'm doing, I am adding in two back-to-back Manelli method highlights, which is a very specific type of highlight. So that way we can just eliminate the teasing and eliminate the shadow root. So that way we have a very lived in look for this face frame. So of course you can go ahead and customize this to your liking. Now I am really loving this L'Oreal Pro bleach lightener. It is so amazing. I think mostly because even though it is a powder, I am loving the oil delivery system in the developer specifically. It just has a lot of hydration and a ton of blend, and it gives me a lot of lift for how dark of hair that I usually work with. Now, if you want to learn more about all of the bleach lighteners that are available out there, you're not going to want to miss my bleach lightener test series where I've tested multiple different lighteners from Cosmoprof, Salon Centric, Sally's Beauty, and even some smaller distributors, and there's so much more to come. I'm going to put the link down to those videos down below. Now I'm continuing on adding my face frame around the top area, and you can see I even split it in two because usually if someone has like a widow's peak or kind of a rounded edge, I will split it into two different sections, and this just creates a really beautiful fall. So in order to do the tip out, I want to assess exactly where the hair is naturally falling. I definitely can tell like this front money piece area, we're going to incorporate these pieces, but I also want to work from the bottom up. So I'm going to look underneath these foils here. I'm going to save these ones for later. And I'm going to isolate where my sections are at. So I'm just going to work probably with the first two foils here. Now the reason for that is both of these bottom foils are put in diagonally, so this is going to be the perfect area for me to add a tip out if you want to. So again, we're just focused on those mids to ends, and the best way to do this really is bringing this hair all the way forward so that way we can over direct it. So I'm going to go ahead and clip these foils away, just kind of give me a better working space here, especially because I have these flat wrapped foils. And I'm just going to make sure I have all of that hair from in between each of these sections here. And you just want to work with maybe two sections at a time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with too much hair for these tip outs. For a tip out though, I really would go in with a tease. That's really the only way that you can get a true blend. So I'm going to start from down here because what we're looking for is very sparseness of hair towards the bottom. So usually if you tease up here, you're only going to remove about 25% of the hair. If you tease from this mid zone, you're going to remove about 50% of the hair. And if we tease from the bottom here, we're going to remove about 75% of the hair. So that's kind of what I'm looking for out of my tease. So you can see we got rid of a lot of hair there. And we're over directing because when I go in with my lightener, we're going to create a line going up and down. But then when it falls, we're going to create this cascade. So I really do like using the board And we're just, again, looking for the very, very ends here. So probably about, you know, that's really up to you how much tip out you want to do, but I usually try to stay in this mid zone and down. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to stop right there. And then I'm just going to pack this up, and then we're just going to tuck that bad boy right in here. So that way it just gets to take advantage of all of that natural warmth from your client's head to go ahead and process. So I'm going to do the same thing with these two front sections here. And technically we kind of have three going on because we have our first dropout and then that in between. So depending on how much tip out you really want to create, I feel like for this look though, I'm probably gonna skip this one. I don't want it super bold. That's not what this look was. So I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that behind. And again, we're gonna go ahead and over direct, and we're gonna over direct on this side. So I'm gonna go for the bottom just because I do want a really thin section. So usually I start pushing up here and then I guide it up a little bit towards the top. And I am still slightly over directed. And for this one, sometimes I like to take it up a little higher on the side. But again, that's completely up to you how much movement you want to create with that tip out. But this will be really fun just so that way, again, you can see the true impact a tip out can make and how blonde it can really create with a lot less dimension, but will still have tons of depth in the interior. Now that I'm all done with the tip outs, we're gonna go ahead and let this process. So remember, if you are working on really dark hair, the thinner the sections that you have in your foil, the more lift you're gonna get. And also just in general, the better saturation, the more lift you're gonna get. We're gonna go ahead and let this process. I'm gonna check it in about 30 minutes or so because we got this on pretty quickly. And then we're gonna do a foil pull and then do her final glaze. It's been about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a little peek just to see how it's doing. And we got a really amazing lift. I really love this. Now, if you're doing this technique and you feel like you got a really great lift, but the front's not quite done, a really great tip is just go ahead and grab a towel and wipe this clean. And all you're gonna do is remove all of this bleach lightener and let it dry out. That's like the best thing you can do to get it to just stop processing. But this is an amazing lift. I'm gonna go ahead and check the front and then get ready to go ahead and shampoo her out, and then I'll see you back here for her glaze. And then really quickly before I move on to the application of our toner, I wanted to show you the difference between the tip out versus the other side without the tip out. Now on the side where we added in the little bit of a tip out, just two foils, you can see we have a little bit more blonding effect right here in the front. It's just slightly lighter because again, we only added in those two foils. And once we're all done toning, you're really going to be able to see that impact it can make, especially when we style her hair and dry it towards her face. Versus this side still looks really beautiful and really blended, but we got a lot more dimension kind of happening towards the bottom. What we're gonna go in with is just a singular toner. So what I decided to go in with was Redken's 10 VG, which is violet gold. The color is called Baby, and I think this is gonna give us a lot of control for these yellow tones, but still leave her in a soft gold reflection and not really deepening or darkening this. I want to maintain the vibrancy and lightness of the blonde that we achieved, especially with how dark we started out. I just want to make sure we keep the integrity of how light we pulled her, and that's why I'm going in with a 10. So you do have the option of toning with a 9 since we lifted 9, 10, but I just want something nice and sheer for this look. As you can see, the tip outs made a huge impact around the face frame with just with 2 extra foils, and I really think this gave a lot of balance and cohesiveness, especially on this dark of a canvas of a mannequin we worked on today. Now, if you want to see the full look and tutorial, you're going to want to check it out inside Airbnb University, which is an affordable online subscription platform made specifically for hairstylists. I dive into the Manelli method and the full placement of this look, and it's one of my favorite go-to placements for most of my clients. So make sure you check out the links down below so that way you can get on the email list. If you like this tutorial, or maybe you have a suggestion for a future video that you would like to see here on this channel, make sure you drop that down below. And like always, you can find me on my other social channels like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all under Mirella Manelli. For more free education sent right to your inbox, be sure to head on over to my site, mirellamanelli.com, to get onto my email list and be the first to know when my next classes launch, as well as Airbnb University. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.